What if Ducati decided to build the ultimate motorcycle? Not a motorcycle designed for commuting, not a motorcycle designed for comfort, not even a motorcycle designed for practicality, but a machine created with one purpose only: to prove what happens when engineering, performance, and obsession are allowed to exist without limits. That is exactly the question surrounding the rumored Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario. And if the early reports and industry speculation are even partially true, this could become one of the most extreme motorcycles Ducati has ever created. Because when you hear the name Superleggera, you're not simply talking about another superbike. You're talking about a philosophy built around one obsession: weight. The Italian word Superleggera literally translates to super light, and for decades, Ducati engineers have pursued that goal with almost unbelievable dedication. The previous Superleggera models already shocked the motorcycle world. They used carbon fiber in places where most manufacturers would never even consider it. Frames, swing arms, body panels, wheels, even aerodynamic components. The result was a motorcycle that felt less like a production bike and more like a factory prototype that somehow escaped from a racing laboratory. Now imagine Ducati taking everything they learned from MotoGP, World Superbike racing, and years of exotic motorcycle development, and pushing it even further. That's the idea behind the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario. From the very first look, this motorcycle appears to ignore conventional design rules. Every line serves a purpose. Every surface manages airflow. Every gram matters. There are no unnecessary components, no compromise, no excess, only performance. And that performance begins with what many consider to be one of the greatest motorcycle engines ever created. At the heart of the Superleggera sits Ducati's legendary, Desmocetti-inspired V4 power plant. This engine architecture comes directly from decades of racing experience. Unlike traditional superbike engines, Ducati's V4 design delivers a combination of high-revving performance, explosive acceleration, and remarkable power delivery characteristics. Even by modern superbike standards, the numbers are extraordinary. But what makes the Superleggera truly special isn't simply horsepower. It's the relationship between horsepower and weight. Because in performance engineering, reducing weight is often more valuable than adding power. Every pound removed improves acceleration. It improves braking. It improves cornering. It improves handling. It improves everything. And Ducati understands this principle better than almost anyone. This is why carbon fiber becomes such an important part of the Superleggera story. While many manufacturers use carbon fiber primarily for appearance, Ducati uses it as a fundamental engineering tool. The frame components, the body panels, the aerodynamic wings, the wheels. Each component exists to eliminate weight while maintaining incredible strength. The result is a motorcycle that feels almost unreal when viewed in person. It doesn't look like something designed for ordinary roads. It looks like something transported directly from a MotoGP garage. But creating a lightweight motorcycle is only half the challenge. The real challenge is maintaining stability when performance reaches extreme levels. And this is where Ducati's aerodynamic expertise becomes absolutely critical. At high speeds, modern superbikes generate enormous forces. Without proper aerodynamic management, all that power becomes difficult to control. That's why the Superleggera features advanced winglets and aerodynamic surfaces designed to create downforce while minimizing drag. These aerodynamic systems don't simply improve appearance. They actively help keep the motorcycle planted during acceleration, braking, and high-speed cornering. It's racing technology adapted for a production machine. And perhaps that's what makes the Superleggera so fascinating. It exists in a category that very few motorcycles ever reach. It's not just transportation. It's not even just performance. It's engineering art. The suspension system follows the same philosophy. Although official specifications remain limited, Ducati's Superleggera models traditionally feature some of the most advanced suspension technology available anywhere in the motorcycle industry. Every adjustment, every component, every calibration is designed to maximize performance under extreme conditions. The same philosophy extends to the braking system, because when a motorcycle reaches this level of acceleration, stopping power becomes equally important. Massive performance brakes, race-inspired components, and advanced electronic systems all work together to create a riding experience that feels incredibly precise. But here's where things become really interesting. The Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario isn't just about engineering. It's about emotion. It's about owning something that very few people in the world will ever experience. It's about hearing the sound of a high-revving Italian V4 engine and realizing that you're sitting on one of the most advanced motorcycles ever created. And perhaps that's the greatest appeal of all. But one major question remains. What is this motorcycle actually like to ride? Can any road legally contain this level of performance? And does Ducati's pursuit of perfection create the ultimate superbike? Or something so extreme that only professional riders can truly appreciate it? In Part 2, we'll dive into the real-world riding experience, aerodynamics, electronics package, handling characteristics, and why this motorcycle may completely redefine what a production superbike can be. Now comes the question every motorcycle enthusiast wants answered. What does it actually feel like to ride something that borders on being a MotoGP machine for the street? Because on paper, the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario sounds extraordinary, but motorcycles are not experienced on paper. They are experienced through sound, through vibration, through acceleration, through emotion. And according to everything Ducati has learned from decades of racing development, the Superleggera experience begins the moment you press the start button. The V4 engine doesn't simply start, it comes alive. There is an unmistakable character to a Ducati V4 power plant. The sound is deep and mechanical at idle, but beneath that calm surface lies an enormous amount of potential energy. Twist the throttle, and the motorcycle responds instantly. There is no hesitation, no delay, just pure mechanical aggression, translated directly into acceleration. This is where the philosophy of the Superleggera becomes obvious. Ducati didn't create this motorcycle to be comfortable. They created it to be unforgettable. As the RPM climbs, the character of the V4 engine changes dramatically. At lower speeds, the power delivery feels precise and manageable. But as the revs rise, the motorcycle transforms into something entirely different. Acceleration becomes violent. The engine note turns into a high-pitched racing scream, and the motorcycle begins to feel less like a production bike and more like a professional racing machine that somehow found its way onto public roads. But raw power alone does not create a great superbike. Control is equally important, and this is where Ducati's engineering philosophy truly shines. One of the biggest advantages of the Superleggera platform is its incredible weight reduction. Because the motorcycle carries significantly less mass than conventional superbikes, every input feels immediate. Steering becomes sharper, braking becomes more effective, corner entry becomes faster, and transitions from one lean angle to another happen with remarkable precision. This creates a riding experience that feels almost supernatural. Instead of fighting the motorcycle, riders begin to feel connected to it. The machine responds so quickly that it starts to feel like an extension of the rider's body. This level of responsiveness is exactly why lightweight motorcycles remain so desirable among professional racers. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of the Superleggera is its aerodynamic performance. Modern superbikes produce extraordinary amounts of horsepower. Without advanced aerodynamics, much of that performance becomes difficult to control. That's why Ducati has invested enormous resources into aerodynamic research. The winglets and aerodynamic surfaces on the Superleggera are not decorative features. They are functional performance tools. At high speeds, they generate downforce that helps keep the front wheel planted during acceleration. They improve stability under braking, and they provide additional confidence when entering corners at extreme speeds. This technology comes directly from professional racing, and when combined with the motorcycle's lightweight construction, the results are extraordinary. Then there's the electronics package. Modern superbikes have become technological masterpieces, and the Superleggera represents the very best of Ducati's electronic engineering. Advanced traction control, cornering ABS, wheelie control, launch control, engine braking management, multiple riding modes. Every system works continuously in the background to help riders maximize performance while maintaining control. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of these electronic systems is how invisible they feel. They don't dominate the riding experience. They enhance it. The rider remains in control, while the electronics act as an intelligent safety net. And that's incredibly important when dealing with a motorcycle capable of producing such extreme performance. The suspension system also deserves special attention. Ducati's philosophy has always been to create motorcycles that feel stable under pressure, and the Superleggera takes that philosophy to another level. The premium race-inspired suspension continuously adapts to changing conditions, helping maintain grip and confidence regardless of the riding environment. Under heavy braking, the motorcycle remains composed. During rapid acceleration, stability remains impressive, and through high-speed corners, the bike feels remarkably planted. This creates an unusual sensation. The motorcycle feels incredibly fast, yet somehow it never feels out of control. Of course, this level of performance comes with compromises. The riding position is aggressive. Very aggressive long-distance comfort was never a priority. Heat management can become noticeable during slower riding conditions, and the motorcycle constantly encourages you to ride faster than most roads legally allow. This isn't a motorcycle that quietly waits for instructions. It constantly challenges its rider. It asks questions. How late can you brake? How early can you accelerate? How much confidence do you really have? And for experienced riders, that's exactly what makes the Superleggera so exciting. Because this motorcycle isn't trying to make riding easier. It's trying to make riding unforgettable. But one question still remains. Perhaps the biggest question of all. How does the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario compare against the greatest superbikes in the world? And it outperformed machines from BMW, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. And perhaps even more importantly, is a motorcycle this extreme actually worth its extraordinary price? In the final part, we'll compare the Superleggera against its biggest rivals, discuss who this motorcycle was truly built for, explore its strengths and weaknesses, and answer the ultimate question: could this be the greatest production motorcycle Ducati has ever created? And now we've reached the final question. Is the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario truly the ultimate motorcycle? Or is it simply an engineering masterpiece that very few riders will ever fully understand? The truth is, the Superleggera was never designed to compete with ordinary motorcycles. It wasn't built to replace your daily commuter. It wasn't designed to be a comfortable touring machine. And it certainly wasn't created for beginners. The Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario exists for one reason only: to demonstrate what happens when engineers are given complete freedom to pursue perfection. And in many ways, that's exactly what Ducati has achieved. The moment you compare the Superleggera with other legendary superbikes, its unique personality becomes obvious. Take the BMW M1000RR, for example. The BMW is incredibly fast, highly advanced, and exceptionally refined. It's a motorcycle that combines race performance with German precision. Then there's the Kawasaki Ninja H2R, a machine famous for its supercharged power and unbelievable straight-line speed. The H2R feels like a technological experiment pushed to its absolute limits. And of course, there is the Yamaha YZF-R1M, a motorcycle that delivers remarkable balance, racing heritage, and incredible rider confidence. All of these motorcycles are extraordinary, but the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario approaches performance differently. It doesn't simply chase horsepower, it chases emotion. Every aspect of the motorcycle has been engineered to create a feeling: the sound of the V4 engine, the sensation of extreme acceleration, the precision of the lightweight chassis, the confidence created by advanced aerodynamics, the emotional connection between rider and machine. This is what separates the Superleggera from many of its competitors. It transforms performance into an experience. And perhaps that's why Ducati motorcycles have always occupied a special place in the motorcycle world. Because Ducati doesn't simply build motorcycles, they build passion. Of course, that passion comes at a price. And in the case of the Superleggera V4 Centenario, that price is expected to place it among the most expensive production motorcycles ever offered by Ducati. For many riders, the cost alone will make ownership impossible. But for Ducati's target audience, price has never been the primary consideration. Exclusivity matters, engineering matters, heritage matters, and above all else, emotion matters. Then there is the issue of practicality. The truth is, there isn't much. This motorcycle wasn't designed for traffic. It wasn't designed for long-distance comfort. And it wasn't designed for carrying luggage or passengers. Every compromise favors performance. The riding position is aggressive. The suspension is race-focused. The engine constantly encourages high RPM riding. And every mile reminds you that you're riding something extraordinary. For some people, these characteristics are disadvantages. For others, they're exactly the reason to own it. The Superleggera demands respect. It rewards skill. And it offers an experience that few motorcycles can match. This is also where exclusivity becomes important. Motorcycles like the Superleggera are produced in extremely limited numbers. That means ownership becomes something more than simply possessing a vehicle. It becomes membership in a very small group of enthusiasts who appreciate engineering at its absolute highest level. For collectors, that exclusivity adds enormous value. For riders, it creates an experience that feels genuinely special every time they enter the garage. But perhaps the greatest achievement of the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario isn't its horsepower, or its carbon fiber construction, or even its advanced aerodynamics. Its greatest achievement is that it still manages to make riders dream. In an era where motorcycles have become increasingly sophisticated and technologically advanced, the Superleggera still captures something emotional, something irrational, something exciting. It reminds us why people fall in love with motorcycles in the first place, not because they're practical, not because they're economical, but because they make us feel something extraordinary. The Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario is not a motorcycle for everyone. It is expensive, it is uncompromising, it is demanding, and it is almost certainly excessive. But that's exactly what makes it so special. It represents the absolute edge of what a production motorcycle can become. A machine built without compromise. A motorcycle created not simply to transport its rider, but to inspire them. For collectors, it may become a masterpiece. For enthusiasts, it may become a dream. And for Ducati, it may represent the ultimate expression of their engineering philosophy. If the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario truly becomes reality, it won't simply be another superbike. It could become one of the most legendary motorcycles ever built. So, what do you think? Could the Ducati Superleggera V4 Centenario become the greatest superbike Ducati has ever created? Would you choose it over the BMW M1000RR, the Kawasaki Ninja H2R, or the Yamaha YZF-R1M? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we've got many more incredible 2027 motorcycles coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next ride.